Hidden deep in the pine forest of Louisiana lies one of the most unpredictable prisons in America, USP Pollock. On paper, it's just another high-security federal penitentiary. But inside these walls, the unspoken rule is simple. Respect means survival. Every inmate knows that one wrong look, one careless word, can get you cut, stomped, or worse. This isn't a place where strength alone keeps you alive. It's where understanding the code means everything. The Bureau of Prisons calls it a modern facility. But to the men who live here, it's a pressure cooker, a place where violence simmers quietly beneath every meal, every shower, every conversation. Today, we step inside USP Pollock and uncover the dark code that governs life behind its gates. A code not written on paper, but carved into the walls, whispered through cell doors, and enforced through blood. This is a prison where respect means survival. At USP Pollock, mornings don't start with sunlight. They start with noise. The sharp buzz of the intercom, the slam of metal doors, and the synchronized rhythm of footsteps hitting the tier. Every man here wakes up knowing the same thing. Respect isn't given. It's earned, and it's tested every single day. Inside the cell blocks, tension is part of the air. You can feel it, that heavy silence that lives between conversations. The kind where one wrong phrase can turn breakfast into a battleground. On the top tier, an inmate named Dre, serving 25 years for armed robbery, leans on a rail, eyes scanning below. He's been here long enough to know the rule. Stay in your lane, mind your business, and never, ever disrespect another man's pride. Below him, two newer inmates bump shoulders by accident in the chow line. It's small, barely noticeable, but inside Pollock, nothing is small. The moment stretches. No one speaks. Forks stop clinking. Then one of them mutters, "Watch where you going." Bro, the room freezes. That's the test. Not of strength, but of understanding. The other inmate pauses, lowers his tone, and nods. "Respect, homie. My fault." Just like that, the tension dissolves. No fight, no drama, just acknowledgement. Because here it's not about who's right. It's about who understands the code. Up on the tier, Dre nods slowly. He's seen men lose their lives over pride. But today it's quiet. Peaceful for now. In Pollock, survival isn't just about fighting. It's about knowing when not to. Every inmate learns the rules fast. But not everyone survives long enough to master them. Next, we go deeper into the place inmates call the yard, where alliances are made and broken, and the meaning of respect is tested in ways the outside world will never understand. When the doors open for yard time, USP Pollock transforms. It's no longer just a prison. It becomes a battlefield of politics, respect, and survival. Every step outside that cell means stepping into a system ruled by silence and symbols. The yard stretches wide under the Louisiana sun, rows of weight benches, a worn basketball court, and clusters of men grouped by race, by gang, by region. There are no fences between them, only invisible borders everyone knows not to cross. Dre walks with his crew, the same 4 men he's been with since his first week. They don't talk much. In here, too many words can get you in trouble. Across the field, another group, mostly younger inmates, starts throwing glances. It's subtle at first. A stare too long. A whisper. A smirk. The kind of thing outsiders would never notice, but in Pollock, it's a warning. Dre feels it before it even happens. He sets his towel down, adjusts his weight belt, and says quietly, "Let it go." The others don't argue. They know what that means. Don't feed the fire. Because in Pollock, violence doesn't come out of nowhere. It builds. One disrespect today becomes a riot tomorrow. From the tower above, guards watch with mirrored sunglasses, hands resting near the alarm button. They've seen this play out too many times. One spark, and the whole yard explodes. But this time it doesn't. The stare breaks. Everyone goes back to their sets. The threat dies quietly, smothered by the weight of experience. Dre wipes sweat from his face, glancing at the clock on the wall. He knows peace like this never lasts. In Pollock, calm is just a pause between storms. Out here, respect is currency, and some men will kill to protect it. But the deeper truth is darker. Sometimes, even showing too much respect can make you a target. Next, we go inside, to the unit where that line between respect and weakness disappears completely, where a single act of mercy leads to blood. Inside USP Pollock, there's one place every inmate knows by name: C Block. It's not officially labeled as dangerous, but everyone knows the truth. C Block is where the politics get personal, where the code of respect isn't just tested, it's enforced. C Block hums with quiet intensity. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting long, jagged shadows down the tier. You can hear the faint hiss of steam from the pipes and the echo of voices from behind steel doors. Dre sits on his bunk, reading an old letter from his daughter. For a moment, the noise fades, and he almost forgets where he is. Then, a sharp knock on the doorframe. It's Marquez, a younger inmate from another unit who's been having problems. He steps in, tense. "Yo, Dre, I gotta ask you something. You cool with dude from 1B? Dre looks up slowly. Questions like that aren't simple here. One wrong answer can mean choosing sides, and in Pollock, sides mean survival. He nods carefully. He's solid. Why? Marquez hesitates, then says, "He disrespected me in front of the table today. Tried to make me look small." Dre closes the letter, sets it aside. "You handle that how you need to, but don't do it in the open. Not today." But the warning comes too late. Down the tier, a sudden commotion erupts. Shouting, steel clanging, feet pounding on concrete. A fight breaks out, quick, vicious, loud. Two inmates locked in chaos while others scatter. The alarm screams. Guards rush in, spraying mace, yelling orders. When the haze clears, one man is on the floor, bleeding from his side, motionless. Marquez stands frozen, hands trembling, staring at what he's done. He didn't mean to take it that far. But in Pollock, once respect is challenged, backing down isn't an option. That night, C Block is silent. No laughter, no conversation. Just the hum of the lights and the weight of what happened. Dre lies awake, staring at the ceiling. He's seen this cycle too many times. Young men trying to prove something, ending up with nothing. He mutters quietly, "In here, you either learn the code or you die by it." At USP Pollock, violence isn't chaos, it's communication. Every move, every look, every word carries a message. But there's one place in this prison where even the toughest men lose their grip on that message. The SHU, better known as solitary confinement. Next, we step inside the hole, where silence speaks louder than any threat. And the meaning of respect changes completely. They call it the hole. Officially, it's a special housing unit, the SHU. But to the man at USP Pollock, it's something else entirely. A place where time slows down, and even your thoughts start to echo back at you. A place where respect doesn't mean survival anymore. It means sanity. The corridor leading to the SHU smells like bleach and concrete dust. The air is cold, sharp, still. Each cell door looks identical. Heavy steel, small slot, no window. Inside, Marquez sits on the edge of his bed, staring at the wall. His wrists are banded with red marks from restraints. His knuckles still swollen. He hasn't spoken in hours, maybe days. In the hole, there's no crowd to impress, no eyes to judge, no politics to navigate. Just you and what's left of your mind. He listens to the faint hum of the vent, counting the seconds between the noises. It's all he can do to keep track of time. From the next cell over, someone taps lightly on the wall. 3 short knocks, too long. It's a rhythm that's passed through the unit for years, a way for men to talk without words. Marquez taps back. In here, that small act is respect. It's survival in its simplest form, acknowledging that you're still human. Hours pass, maybe days. It's hard to tell anymore. Then, the slot in his door opens. A guard slides a tray of food and shuts it again without a word. The silence is deafening. Marquez looks down at the tray, a cold sandwich and an apple. He whispers to himself, "Ain't no respect left in this." From somewhere down the hall, a man starts yelling, loud, broken, desperate. He's arguing with no one. The sound bounces off the concrete walls until it's all you can hear. Marquez closes his eyes. He understands now. In the hole, there's no one left to fear, no one left to fight. Just a reflection of everything you've done to get here. In USP Pollock, every man swears he understands respect until he's faced with silence. It's in these cells that the truth finally sets in. Respect isn't about fear, power, or control. It's about holding on to what little piece of yourself you have left when everything else is gone. Next, we move back to the yard, where the same code still rules. But something has changed. One man walks free, but another story is far from over. Weeks later, the doors of the SHU is open again. Marquez steps out, blinking under the harsh daylight. The world outside hasn't changed. Same fences, same towers, same eyes watching from above. But inside him, something's different. He's quieter now, slower. Every move feels like walking through fog. When he returns to the yard, the other inmates watch. No one says a word. They just observe. Because at Pollock, coming back from the hole is like returning from the dead. You don't just walk back into respect. You have to earn it again. Dre stands by the pull-up bars, his usual calm still in place. When Marquez approaches, there's tension, not anger, just weight. Dre looks him in the eye and says, "You good?" Marquez nods. "I'm straight." No apology, no explanation. That's not how it works here. In Pollock, words don't mean much. Actions do. Dre nods once and hands him the weight belt. That simple gesture means you're still in. No lectures, no judgment, just quiet acknowledgement. It's how Pollock forgives, if it forgives at all. As they lift, a light breeze crosses the yard, carried with the faint hum of voices, the clang of metal, the rhythm of a place that never truly sleeps. Life goes on. The code remains. But deep down, Marquez knows he's changed. He's seen what silence can do, and he's realized that in a place like this, respect isn't about being feared. It's about never losing who you are in a world designed to strip that away. That evening, as the yard empties and the sky turns red behind the razor wire, Dre sits alone on the bench, watching the sun dip behind the wall. He thinks of all the men who came and went, the ones who stood tall, the ones who broke, and the ones who disappeared without a sound. He whispers, almost to himself, "Respect don't make you untouchable. It just makes you worth remembering." At USP Pollock, there are no heroes, no villains, just men trying to survive inside a system built to erase them. For some, respect keeps them alive. For others, it's the very thing that destroys them. And for every story that ends in silence, another one begins somewhere in the shadows of the next cell. Every prison has its legends, men whose names echo through the halls not because of violence, but because they defy the rules. At USP Pollock, there was one such man, a prisoner known only as Cole. Cole had been at Pollock for over a decade. He wasn't the strongest, the fastest, or the most feared, but he understood something the others didn't. The code could be bent, and sometimes bending it could save your life or ruin it. It started with a minor favor. Cole saw a fight brew in the yard. Two men about to throw down over a disrespectful comment. Instead of stepping back, he intervened, not by force, but by words. He reminded them, quietly, calmly, what's at stake. The message was simple: survival first, pride later. The men hesitated, then backed down. At first, the yard saw him as a mediator. Then whispers began. He's playing both sides. He's untouchable. He's dangerous. And that's when things went wrong. One night, a group of younger inmates decided to test him. They cornered him near the tier, taunting him, pushing him against the wall. Cole didn't flinch. He didn't argue. He simply stared. Then, without warning, one of them lunged. Cole moved faster than anyone expected. Not to strike, but to deflect. The attack backfired. One of the younger men went down hard, leaving the others stunned. The yard went silent. The whispers turned into cautious glances. Cole had survived, but now, he wasn't just respected. He was feared. The twist at Pollock is always the same. Respect can save you, but crossing the invisible line can make you a target. Cole had learned this too late. He had bent the code, not broken it, but the consequences were already circling. As Dre watches from the bench, he can see it in the eyes of the other inmates, the tension, the caution, the unspoken understanding. Cole's actions remind everyone here. In Pollock, survival is fragile and respect is never permanent. In a prison where respect means survival, some men master the code, some men break it, and some men vanish between the lines of unspoken rules and concrete walls. USP Pollock doesn't forgive. It doesn't forget. It teaches a lesson that echoes long after the doors close. And sometimes that lesson is paid for in blood. As night falls over USP Pollock, the prison takes on a different shape. The loud chaos of the day fades, replaced by whispers, footsteps, and hum of fluorescent lights in empty halls. Out here, survival isn't about muscle or intimidation. It's about understanding the shadows and knowing when to walk in them. Dre sits alone on the top tier, staring at the dim lights reflecting off the metal bars. He watches the faint movement below. Inmates returning from the yard, some tired, some angry, some silently plotting. Every face tells a story. The mistakes, the fights, the alliances that formed and broke. Marquez walks past quietly, glancing at Dre. No words. A nod is enough. He's learned that silence often carries more weight than any speech. Somewhere in the distance, the faint echo of Cole's legend drifts through the corridors. A reminder to everyone. Even the code can be bent, but every action has a cost. Every victory carries the shadow of consequence. The prison sleeps uneasily, but the lessons of the day linger. For those inside, respect isn't earned once. It must be maintained every hour, every moment. And for those watching from the outside, the walls of Pollock are more than concrete and steel. They are a mirror reflecting the fragile line between survival and destruction. Dre closes his eyes, thinking of the men who didn't make it and those who will face the same test tomorrow. He whispers softly, "Here, you don't just live, you survive. And sometimes that's all you can do." USP Pollock is more than a prison. It's a crucible where respect is currency, silence is power, and every choice carries weight. Some leave broken, some leave hardened, and some never leave at all. But one thing remains true. In Pollock, respect doesn't just save lives, it defines them. Even in a place governed by unspoken rules, trust is the most fragile currency of all. And in USP Pollock, betrayal can appear when you least expect it. Weeks have passed since Cole's legend shook the yard. Marquez has settled into a cautious rhythm. Dre continues his quiet vigilance, always scanning, always observing. The prison hums with routine, yet underneath, tension simmers. In the corner of the yard, a small group of younger inmates huddle. Their whispers carry across the court, like a current too strong to ignore. One of them glances toward Cole, then toward Dre. Eyes flicker. Plans form. Later that night, Dre walks back to his unit, alone. The hallways echo with distant shouts and the clanging of doors. He senses it before it happens. A shadow moving too fast, a step too quiet. Suddenly, a fist connects with his side. He staggers. From behind, another inmate grabs his arm, dragging him toward the wall. It's quick, calculated. Someone knows exactly what they're doing. Dre's heart races, but he doesn't panic. He twists, breaks free, and delivers a hard shove. Two attackers stumble back. One freezes. Recognition hits. It's Marquez. Shock ripples through Dre's body. Marquez, the young man he guided, the one who survived the hole and earned his place, has chosen betrayal. You don't get it. Marquez hisses, "This is Pollock. You can't stay untouchable forever." Dre's eyes narrow. "You think this proves something?" The hallway is silent except for their heavy breathing and the distant clanging of the doors. Trust shattered. Respect questioned. Survival suddenly uncertain. In USP Pollock, betrayal isn't just personal, it's survival. Every move is watched. Every alliance tested. Even the men you think you know can become the enemy in an instant. And as the prison settles into night, a new understanding dawns. In a place where respect defines life and death, the only guarantee is that no one is untouchable. When betrayal strikes at USP Pollock, it changes everything. Allies become threats. Silence becomes strategy. And every decision, every step, every word carries the weight of survival. The next day, the yard is tense. Inmates glance at Dre and Marquez with cautious curiosity. Rumors spread like wildfire. Dre was attacked by his own ally. Dre walks carefully, keeping his head down but eyes sharp. Every step is measured. Every handshake, every nod is calculated. He knows Pollock doesn't forgive hesitation. Marquez approaches later near the basketball court, trying to save face in front of his crew. But Dre doesn't respond. Silence, the heaviest weapon in the prison. Suddenly, a fight breaks out nearby. A distraction. Dre uses it to maneuver, to read the yard, to observe loyalties. He realizes something crucial. Respect isn't about punishing betrayal. It's about survival. And sometimes, survival means letting the world see you broken while you plan your next move. Hours later, Dre corners Marquez in the empty tier. No one is around. Just steel, concrete, and the echo of their footsteps. "You wanted to test me," Dre says quietly, his voice low, controlled. Marquez swallows hard. He doesn't respond. Dre steps back. No fight. No revenge. Instead, he walks away. Because in Pollock, the final test isn't winning a fight. It's knowing when to walk away, when to survive, when to bend without breaking. At USP Pollock, the code of respect isn't written in rules or regulations. It's in the choices you make, the battles you fight, and the ones you don't. Dre walks back to the bench under the dim lights of the tier. He's bruised. He's wary. But he's alive. And in Pollock, that's the only victory that truly matters. Night descends over USP Pollock, and with it comes a silence heavier than any clamor of the day. The yard is empty. The corridors are still. The fluorescent lights hum their monotonous tune. And in this stillness, the lessons of survival echo louder than any shout or fight. Dre sits alone on the top tier, staring at the dark horizon beyond the razor wire. He thinks of Marquez, the betrayal, the fight, the almost costly mistakes. He thinks of Cole, the man who bent the code and became untouchable and yet still walked in shadows. And he thinks of the men who never made it, the ones who tested the rules too soon or too late. The prison has a rhythm, a pulse, a cruel logic. Some nights are quiet. Some nights are violent. Some nights you survive by luck. Most nights, you survive by understanding the code. Dre exhales slowly. He knows Pollock will challenge him again tomorrow. But for tonight, he's still standing, still alive, still respecting the rules that no one ever writes down. From the shadows, the faint sound of footsteps echoes, a reminder that life in Pollock never truly rests. But for Dre, tonight is a victory of endurance, not of power, not of dominance, but of survival. USP Pollock is more than concrete, steel, and fences. It's a crucible where respect is survival, silence is strategy, and betrayal is inevitable. Some men leave hardened. Some leave broken. Some never leave at all. And for those inside, one truth remains. Survival isn't about fighting every battle. It's about knowing which ones to fight, which ones to bend, and which ones to walk away from.